They can't control you unless you let them. Machiavelli wrote The Prince knowing most people would never understand it. Not because it was complex, but because it revealed a truth too uncomfortable to accept. Control is an illusion you participate in. Every time you seek approval, you hand someone a weapon. Every time you need validation, you give them leverage. Every time you react emotionally, you've shown them exactly how to manipulate you. They don't control you because they're powerful. They control you because you've made yourself controllable. Here's the ruthless secret Machiavelli understood 5 centuries ago. Power isn't about dominating others. It's about becoming undominable yourself. The person who needs nothing can't be bought. The person who fears nothing can't be threatened. The person who craves no approval can't be manipulated. You've been conditioned to believe control comes from external force, authority, status, dominance over others. But real control is internal. It's the refusal to let anyone dictate your emotional state, your decisions, or your worth. Most people will never learn this. They'll spend their lives controlled by bosses, partners, friends, and strangers, all because they never withdrew the levers that make control possible. They'll chase respect through kindness, seek fairness in an unfair world, and react emotionally to every provocation. And they'll wonder why nothing changes, why they're still being used, still being overlooked, still being manipulated, because they never understood the foundation. You can't be controlled if you refuse to play by their rules. This is what Machiavelli knew. This is what separates the controlled from the uncontrollable. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The game changes completely when you stop asking for permission to be powerful. You've been taught that respect comes from being nice. That's the first lie. Respect isn't earned through warmth or kindness. It's earned through scarcity. People don't value what's always available. They value what they might lose. When you're always there, always saying yes, always bending, you become background noise. You become disposable. And disposal doesn't command respect. It commands contempt. I've watched it happen countless times. The person who gives everything gets nothing in return. Not because people are cruel by nature, but because psychology doesn't reward weakness. It rewards control. When you chase approval, you broadcast desperation. And desperation has a smell. People sense it before you even speak. It triggers something primal in them, a recognition that you need them more than they need you. That imbalance becomes the foundation of every interaction. You lose before the game even starts. Respect operates on a simple principle: value through withdrawal. The moment you stop seeking validation, you shift the dynamic. Suddenly, your presence isn't guaranteed. Your attention becomes a resource, not a given. This creates tension, the kind of tension that breeds respect. People start wondering why you're not chasing anymore. They start questioning their own position. And in that uncertainty, you gain leverage. Power doesn't announce itself, it reveals itself through absence. Consider the workplace. The employee who stays late every night, who never refuses a task, who apologizes for everything, they rarely get promoted. Why? Because they've trained everyone around them to expect compliance. There's no fear of consequence, no respect for boundary. Compare that to the person who says no strategically, who controls their availability, who speaks only when their words carry weight. That person creates respect through scarcity. They've made themselves valuable by making themselves rare. The market doesn't reward abundance. It rewards control over supply. This isn't about being cold for its own sake. It's about understanding the transactional nature of human psychology. Every interaction is an exchange. You offer something, time, energy, attention, and you receive something in return. When you offer freely without expectation, you devalue your currency. But when you make others work for your presence, when they fear losing access to you, the transaction shifts. You're no longer the one seeking approval. You've become the one granting it. And in that shift, respect is born, not from emotion, but from the ruthless logic of survival. People respect what they cannot fully control. Fairness is a bedtime story. It's what they tell you to keep you obedient while they take what they want. You've been conditioned to believe the world operates on justice, that hard work equals reward, that playing by the rules guarantees respect. That's the trap. The powerful don't wait for fairness. They create advantage. They understand that fairness is a tool used to control those who won't seize power for themselves. It's a leash disguised as morality. Look around. The people who rise aren't the ones who follow the rules most carefully. They're the ones who understand which rules to break and when. They see fairness for what it is, a social contract designed to pacify the weak. While you're waiting for your turn, for recognition, for justice, someone else is taking the position you thought you deserved. They're not more talented. They're not more qualified. They're just willing to operate outside the boundaries you've accepted as sacred. That willingness is the difference between power and powerlessness. I learned this the hard way. Early in my career, I believed merit would speak for itself. I worked twice as hard, delivered better results, stayed later than everyone else. I waited for fairness to reward me. It never came. Meanwhile, someone with half my output but twice my political awareness got the promotion. They didn't play fair, they played effectively. They understood that respect and advancement don't come from goodness. They come from manipulation of perception and control of narrative. That's when I stopped believing in fairness. That's when I started winning. The psychology behind this is simple. Fairness requires everyone to agree on the same rules. But power doesn't need agreement. It needs dominance. When you appeal to fairness, you're asking permission. You're saying, please see my worth and reward me accordingly. But the powerful don't ask. They take. They rewrite the rules in real time, and by the time you realize the game has changed, they've already won. Fairness assumes a level playing field. Power creates the slope. You want to break free? Stop seeking fairness. Start seeking leverage. Find the gaps in the system, the unspoken rules, the advantages others are too moral to exploit. That doesn't mean cruelty. It means clarity. It means understanding that survival isn't about being good. It's about being effective. The moment you reject fairness as your measuring stick, you stop being a victim of the game. You become a player. And players don't wait for respect. They command it through consequence and boundary enforcement. Fairness is the enemy of power. Choose accordingly. The person who reacts first loses. Every time. You've been trained to express, to be authentic, to show your feelings. That's precisely what makes you controllable. Emotion is a weapon. And when you hand it to someone else, you've armed your enemy. The moment you react, anger, fear, desperation, you've revealed your pressure points. You've shown them exactly where to strike. And they will. Not because they're evil, but because human psychology exploits weakness automatically. I've sat across from people who tried to provoke me. Insults, accusations, manipulations designed to trigger a reaction. They wanted me to break, to defend, to justify. But I learned something critical. Silence is a mirror. When you don't react, the emotion they tried to weaponize reflects back onto them. They become uncomfortable. They start questioning their own strategy. Your calm becomes their chaos. That's not passivity. That's dominance. You've forced them to fight their own reflection while you remain untouched. Control starts with the pause. That split second between stimulus and response. That's where power lives. Most people collapse that gap. Someone insults them, they lash out. Someone challenges them, they defend immediately. But in that instant reaction, you've surrendered control. You've let external circumstances dictate your internal state. The person who masters the pause masters the battlefield. They see the manipulation attempt, recognize the emotional bait, and choose not to bite. That choice is freedom. That choice is warfare. Think about negotiations. The one who shows desperation, eagerness, fear of loss, need for approval, always pays more. They've telegraphed their weakness. The skilled negotiator shows nothing. They sit in silence, unbothered by discomfort, willing to walk away. That willingness creates leverage. The other side starts filling the silence with concessions, revealing their own desperation. Emotional control isn't about suppressing feelings. It's about refusing to let them be weaponized against you. It's about making your internal state invisible to external manipulation. This extends to every domain: relationships, business, conflict. The one who needs less controls more. The one who can endure silence, withstand pressure, and remain unmoved by provocation holds all the cards. People respect what they cannot break. When you react, you've been broken. When you pause, observe, and respond strategically, you've demonstrated something rare: self-mastery. And self-mastery terrifies people who rely on emotional manipulation. They can't control you. They can't predict you. And in that unpredictability, you've created the foundation for true dominance. Emotion is currency. Stop spending it so freely. You've confused kindness with weakness. That's why people walk over you. Ruthlessness isn't cruelty, it's clarity. It's the refusal to betray yourself for the comfort of others. Every time you say yes when you mean no, every time you tolerate disrespect to keep the peace, you're practicing self-abandonment. You're teaching people that your boundaries are negotiable, and negotiable boundaries aren't boundaries at all. They're invitations for exploitation. The ruthless understand something fundamental. Mercy is not a virtue when given to those who don't deserve it. Compassion without discernment is just another form of submission. You drain yourself protecting people who wouldn't protect you. You sacrifice your energy for those who see your kindness as weakness, your availability as desperation. That's not noble. That's psychological suicide. The ruthless don't waste resources on dead weight. They cut cleanly, without guilt, without explanation. They understand that their survival depends on protecting their energy like a fortress protects its walls. I stopped being kind to everyone the day I realized kindness was being used as a weapon against me. People knew I'd help, so they asked for more. They knew I wouldn't say no, so they pushed harder. My compassion became their convenience. The moment I withdrew it, selectively, strategically, everything changed. Suddenly, people respected my time. They valued my presence. Not because I became cruel, but because I became clear. I established consequence. And consequence is the language of respect. This is survival psychology. In nature, the organism that gives away its resources indiscriminately dies first. The one that protects its energy, that defends its territory, that refuses parasitic relationships. That's the one that thrives. You're no different. Your time is finite. Your energy is limited. Every person you allow to drain you is a choice to weaken yourself. Ruthlessness is the recognition that your life belongs to you first. That protecting yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. That cutting toxic people isn't mean, it's strategic. The shift happens when you redefine ruthlessness. It's not about hurting others, it's about refusing to hurt yourself. It's about making your well-being non-negotiable. When someone crosses a boundary, you don't explain, you don't justify, you enforce. You remove access, you withdraw presence. You make them feel the weight of consequence. That's not cruelty. That's self-respect operating at the level of power. People don't respect words, they respect action. And the most powerful action is the willingness to walk away without looking back. Ruthlessness is love turned inward toward the only person who truly matters. Without boundaries, you're not a person, you're a doormat. Every time you fail to enforce a limit, you dissolve a piece of yourself into someone else's will. Boundaries aren't suggestions. They're not negotiable requests for respect. They're the walls that define where you end and where others begin. Without them, you have no identity. You become a reflection of everyone else's needs, desires, and manipulations. And reflections don't command power. They fade when the light shifts. People test boundaries instinctively. It's not malicious, it's survival. They push to see how far you'll bend, how much you'll tolerate, where your breaking point lives. If you don't have one, they'll keep pushing until you're nothing but compliance. That's human nature. We respect what resists us. We exploit what yields. When you say no and mean it, you create a line in the sand. People feel that line. They may not like it, but they respect it. Because resistance signals strength, and strength, even when it inconveniences others, commands a primal form of respect. I used to think boundaries made me difficult, that setting limits would cost me relationships, opportunities, respect. The opposite happened. The moment I started enforcing boundaries, calmly, without apology, people changed how they treated me. Not because I became intimidating, but because I became clear. There was no ambiguity, no room for manipulation. They knew exactly what I would and wouldn't accept. And in that clarity, they found something rare: reliability. Not the reliability of someone who always says yes, but the reliability of someone whose no actually means something. That's the foundation of trust. That's the foundation of power. Your boundaries are your identity. When you let someone cross them without consequence, you're saying your limits don't matter. You're teaching them that your word is meaningless. But when you enforce a boundary, when you remove access, withdraw attention, or walk away, you're making a statement. I value myself more than I value your approval. That statement echoes. It changes how people approach you. They become more careful, more considerate, more respectful. Not because they fear you, but because they fear losing you. And that fear is the currency of control. Think of boundaries as fortress walls. Each one you build makes you harder to invade. Each enforcement strengthens the structure. People who drain your energy, disrespect your time, or violate your trust, they're testing the walls. When you let them in without consequence, the walls crumble. But when you hold the line, when you make them feel the weight of their transgression, the walls stand. And behind those walls, you become untouchable, not isolated, but protected, not cold, but sovereign. Boundaries don't push people away. They filter out everyone who doesn't respect what you've built. What remains is power in its purest form. The less you need, the more you control. That's the equation most people never learn. They spend their lives chasing validation, approval, connection, anything to fill the void. And in that chase, they hand over their power. Because need is weakness. Need makes you predictable. Need makes you manipulable. The moment someone knows what you crave, they own you. They can dangle it, withhold it, use it as leverage, and you'll dance to their rhythm because you've made your survival dependent on their approval. Detachment is the antidote. It's not about being cold or emotionless. It's about becoming self-sufficient at the psychological level. When you stop needing external validation to feel whole, you become dangerous. Not in a destructive way, but in a way that shifts power dynamics entirely. People can't manipulate you with praise or punishment. They can't control you with acceptance or rejection. You've removed the levers they're used to pulling. And when someone can't control you, they start respecting you, because respect is what people give to those they cannot bend. I watched this play out in a relationship once. The more I cared, the less I mattered. The more I chased, the more distant they became. It was textbook psychology. Pursuit triggers retreat. But the moment I stopped caring, the moment I genuinely detached and focused on my own path, everything flipped. Suddenly, they were the ones reaching out. They were the ones seeking attention, not because I played games, but because I stopped needing them. And that shift in need shifted the entire power structure. Detachment doesn't mean abandonment. It means freedom from dependence. This applies everywhere. In business, the entrepreneur who's desperate for a deal always gets worse terms. They reek of need. But the one who can walk away, who has other options, who doesn't care if this particular opportunity falls through, they command respect. They negotiate from power. The same holds in social dynamics. The person who needs to be included, who craves attention, who dies without validation, they're ignored. But the one who's comfortable alone, who doesn't need the group, who radiates self-sufficiency, they become magnetic. People gravitate toward those who don't need them. It's a paradox, but it's true. Detachment is a skill. It's trained through deliberate practice. You start small, let a message go unanswered. Walk away from a conversation that doesn't serve you. Say no without explanation. Each act of detachment strengthens your internal foundation. You realize the world doesn't collapse when you stop performing. You discover that your worth isn't tied to others' perception. And in that discovery, you find dominance, not over others, but over yourself. And self-dominance is the only dominance that lasts. When you need nothing, you control everything. When you crave no one's approval, you become untouchable. Every time you act the same way, you hand someone a manual to control you. Predictability is the death of power. It's the leash you don't even realize you're wearing. When people know exactly how you'll react, what you'll tolerate, where your buttons are, you've become a machine they can operate. Push this, get that response. Pull here, watch you break. You've given them the blueprint to your psychology. And blueprints are meant to be exploited. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He wrote that the greatest danger to a prince is being read too easily. Once your enemies understand your patterns, they can predict your moves, and prediction is the foundation of manipulation. They know you'll always forgive. They know you'll always help. They know you'll react emotionally when provoked. So they use that knowledge. They press the same buttons over and over because you've shown them those buttons work. You've become a puppet who pulls his own strings on command. I made this mistake for years. I was reliably kind, reliably available, reliably forgiving. People learned my patterns. They knew I'd cave under pressure, that I'd apologize even when I wasn't wrong, that I'd sacrifice my needs to keep peace. They didn't respect me. They managed me, like you'd manage a predictable employee or a trained animal. The moment I started varying my responses, becoming unpredictable in my reactions, everything shifted. Suddenly, people couldn't game me. They couldn't assume. They had to treat me with more care because they didn't know which version of me they'd encounter. Unpredictability creates psychological tension. It keeps people off balance. When they can't predict you, they can't control you. They have to actually pay attention, actually consider your needs, actually respect your boundaries, because they don't know the consequence of crossing them. This isn't about being erratic or unstable. It's about strategic variance. Sometimes you're warm, sometimes cold. Sometimes you engage, sometimes you vanish. Sometimes you tolerate, sometimes you cut clean. That variance makes you three-dimensional. It makes you real. And reality is far harder to manipulate than a predictable pattern. Think about respect in any domain. The teacher everyone knows will extend deadlines gets walked over. The boss who always caves to complaints loses authority. The friend who's always available becomes taken for granted. But introduce uncertainty. Sometimes yes, sometimes no, sometimes present, sometimes absent. And suddenly, your value increases. People start wondering. They start respecting your time because they're not sure they'll get it. Your attention becomes scarce because it's not guaranteed. Predictability breeds contempt. Mystery breeds respect. And respect is the soil where power grows. Stop being the person everyone can read. Become the book they can't put down but never fully understand. Too much presence kills value. You've seen it happen. The friend who's always around becomes invisible. The message you send every hour loses its weight. The person who never leaves the room becomes part of the furniture. Presence, when constant, breeds contempt. Not because people are ungrateful, but because psychology operates on scarcity. What's always available has no price. What can disappear at any moment becomes priceless. Your absence creates hunger. Your presence satisfies it. And hunger is more powerful than satisfaction. I learned this from watching power dynamics in every setting. The executive who's always in the office gets less respect than the one who appears strategically. The romantic partner who's always texting gets taken for granted compared to the one who goes silent for days. It's not about playing games. It's about understanding the human fear of loss. When you're always there, there's nothing to lose. When you disappear, suddenly they realize your value. Absence doesn't just create distance, it creates desire. It forces people to confront what your presence was filling, and that confrontation makes them chase. This is manipulation at its most elegant. You're not attacking. You're not arguing. You're simply removing yourself. And in that removal, you trigger something primal. The fear that you might not come back. That fear rewrites how they see you. Suddenly, the things they ignored about you become important. The attention they took for granted becomes something they crave. You've shifted the dynamic without saying a word. Silence speaks louder than any argument ever could. Absence communicates what presence never will. That you don't need them as much as they need you. Think about negotiation psychology. The vendor who's always calling, always available, always desperate to close. They get the worst terms. But the one who takes 3 days to respond, who's busy with other clients, who makes you wonder if they'll even take your business, they command premium rates. Same service, different psychology. Absence creates perceived value. It signals options. It suggests that your time and attention are resources others are competing for, and competition always drives up price. Whether that price is respect, money, or emotional investment, the principle remains the same. You don't have to disappear forever. Strategic absence is enough. Leave conversations before they end naturally. Don't respond to every message immediately. Cancel plans occasionally without over-explaining. Let people wonder where you are, what you're doing, whether you're thinking about them. That wondering is work. It keeps you in their mind even when you're not in their presence. And occupying someone's mind is true control. Your absence becomes more present than most people's company. You've weaponized distance. You've turned invisibility into dominance. And when you finally reappear, you're not just welcomed back. You're valued in a way constant presence could never achieve. They can't control you anymore. Not because you've become cruel, but because you've become conscious. You've seen the levers they've been pulling: approval, emotion, predictability, presence, and you've withdrawn them. That's Machiavelli's ruthless secret. Power isn't seized through force. It's reclaimed through refusal. The refusal to react, the refusal to need, the refusal to be read. You are no longer controllable because you've made yourself untouchable. But here's what most people miss. Becoming uncontrollable isn't enough if you're still trying to be liked. You need to understand why respect through fear is more powerful than respect through approval. That's not cruelty, that's clarity. If you haven't watched Stop Being Liked, Command Respect Through Fear, you're missing the foundation. That video shows you why being liked makes you weak, why fear creates boundaries others won't cross, and how to shift from being tolerated to being respected. You need that understanding before this one fully integrates. Go back, watch it, let it sink in. This awareness changes nothing if you do nothing with it. Knowledge without action is just another form of weakness. You've been given the blueprint. Now build the fortress. Every boundary you enforce, every emotion you master, every moment of strategic absence, those are bricks in the wall between you and manipulation. They will test you. They always do. But the moment you hold the line without flinching, they'll understand. This version of you doesn't break. Watch the next video. There's more you need to understand about control, about power, about the psychology they use against you every single day. Write this in the comments. I am uncontrollable. What you've learned here isn't optional, it's survival.